Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, UFC Fight Night Ankalaev vs. Walker 2 took place this past Saturday, and I'm here to recap that event in its entirety so we can move along to UFC 297 Fight Week. Now, as usual, I'm going to start with the very first fight of the night and work our way up, so let us get started right away with Joshua Vans and Felipe Bunes. Now, I picked Joshua Van to get this one done. I think I went 8-3 on picks overall, which is pretty good, okay? But as I said, I thought Joshua Van would have a tough first round because he does take a little bit to get going, but then eventually his pressure kind of takes over. The dude can take a shot like nobody's business. He did have kind of a tough first round. It was pretty even on total strikes, but he got almost doubled up on significant strikes. He got taken down, and then round two, dude comes out like a bat out of hell, landed 131 total strikes in round two, which didn't even go to its full extent, which is absolutely insane. That is a crazy pace to put on. The guy just applies constant pressure, started being able to defend the takedowns. You could tell that Bunes was getting a bit tired from the pace, just constantly being followed nonstop, no room to breathe whatsoever. He almost tripled him up on significant strikes in that round, and then eventually he found the knockdown, was able to finish him off on the ground. And man, Joshua Van is a good addition to the flyweight division. I love seeing a dude who can hurt guys at flyweight, put them away, also can take a shot. Every single one of his fights since he's been in the UFC has been very entertaining. So great performance by Joshua Van. And moving up the card to Nicholas MOTTA versus Tom Nolan. Now MOTTA was a pretty big underdog here, plus 275, but the dude can crack like nobody's business, and that's exactly what happened. I believe he sat him down with a straight right hand and then finished him off on the ground. The fight only lasted a minute. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I mean, you know, neither of them really landed a whole lot. Wasn't a whole lot to watch, but great performance by Nicholas MOTTA, especially considering the odds. Was a pretty big upset. Now moving up the card too, Weston Wilson versus Gian Silva. Dude, this fight was crazy to watch. Gian Silva, every single time he touched Weston Wilson, had him on Queer Street. The dude was wobbly as fucking all get out. Never seemed to recover from the first big shot. Was kind of hesitant and scared ever since then, and then eventually got finished. You know what I mean? It was only a matter of time. Every single time he got touched, it was a problem. Gian Silva is an absolute savage. Now, I didn't really like his post-fight interview, if I'm being honest. But either way, dude, great performance by Gian Silva. And I mean, to be fair, that kind of is what we should have expected, right? He was a minus 900 come fight night. So that's, you know, what we would hope to see from a guy at a minus 900. Now, moving up the card to BASHARAT versus Taylor LAPILUS. First decision of the night, but this was a very fun fight to watch, in my opinion. Taylor LAPILUS, man, did a phenomenal job stopping the takedowns early on. BASHARAT was having a lot of problems with it. You could tell he was trying to set a real heavy pace, but that was part of the game plan, right? Overall, he only got 5 of 16 takedowns, and I would imagine the most of those came in the last 2 rounds there. He was putting on a crazy pace. You could tell that he was tired himself. Taylor LAPILUS eventually got tired. The takedowns became a little bit easier. Now, he wasn't able to do a whole lot with them, but he was able to do enough to squeeze out these rounds. And you know what? Even on the feet, I thought he was doing quite well. I thought that he would have to get this fight to the ground in order to get a victory here, because I thought that Taylor LAPILUS would be the very clear, better striker, but that wasn't really the case, although I think that the threat of the takedown and the constant takedown attempts might have aided BASHARAT in having a bit more success on the feet against LAPILUS than he might have otherwise. But very good performance overall, and Taylor LAPILUS is no slouch, so I don't hold it against him for not getting a finish or anything like that. I mean, the guy has gotten beautiful finishes in the UFC. He's also fought against very tough competition like Damone Blackshear and been unable to get them out of there. A very good grappler in his own right. I thought Taylor LAPILUS would be a lot more lacking on the ground considering some of his teammates and their abilities on the ground, but his defense, his ability to get back up, his ability to post with just one hand and just never was accepting of the takedown was something to behold. Now, he did a couple of cage grabs and things like that, but either way, dude, great performance by both these guys. It was a very fun fight in my opinion, and you know, I think Taylor LAPILUS will probably be respected a bit more, even though with a loss, right? He was a plus 230 going in there, but that was a very, very, very competitive fight. Anyways, dude, moving up the card, Marcus McGhee versus Gaston Bolanos. Now, I picked McGhee to win this one. He was also a pretty sizable favorite, but I did think that he would have to use grappling if he wanted to have success against Gaston Bolanos, because Gaston Bolanos was a very good kickboxer, but it wasn't the case. Marcus McGhee was absolutely fucking teeing off on him the entire fight. I don't know if it's that some kickboxers aren't able to adjust to perhaps a more unorthodox style of striking that guys that grew up fighting MMA might have, but you know, it's very inconsistent. We see guys like Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya have a lot of success in MMA after having a long, extensive kickboxing career, and then you see other guys like Yusri Balguri look like shit on the Contender Series. Do you know what I mean? And Gaston Bolanos just got absolutely fucking battered in this one by a guy who, if you were to look on paper, like Anthony Smith would say, is the much worse striker. But anyways, dude, great performance by Marcus McGhee. The guy had a very late start in his career, but he's looked fucking phenomenal ever since getting to the UFC. And in my opinion, this one was very impressive. Even though Gaston Bolanos isn't like some crazy high-ranked guy with a ton of wins and finishes and shit, he's relatively new to the UFC. In my opinion, the way that he finished it against the style of his opponent, the way that he finished that was very impressive. So great performance by Marcus McGhee. Moving up the card, Matthew Semelsberger versus Preston Parson. This was, I think, the first, hit my mic, dude, first pick that I got wrong. I thought Matthew Semelsberger would be a little bit more aggressive on the feet. I thought he would try to, yeah, I don't know, dude. It was Preston Parsons basically just set a pace that Matthew Semelsberger could not keep up with, and he wasn't able to really get off, and he kept switching stances because of the leg kicks from Preston Parson, and then wasn't able to land some of his better shots and things like that. Like, he was just constantly on the defense. Crazy that he was actually a very slight favorite. Now, this was basically a pick'em fight, but either way, dude, I thought that Matthew Semelsberger would be able to, like we see against so many other opponents, and Paul Felder actually touched on this on commentary, how Matthew Semelsberger has knocked down like his last 6 opponents or something like that, but he's lost some of those fights, or even some of them he's won by decision. So the finishing ability is not necessarily there, which I actually spoke about in my picks video. But I did say that I thought that Matthew Semelsberger, because of that ability to knock his opponents down, would be able to steal rounds based on how much damage he's able to do compared to his opponent. But that wasn't the case, dude. Preston Parsons was having his way with him on the ground. He was having his way with him on the feet. There were a few moments for Semelsberger where it seemed like he might be able to get him out of there with a guillotine and some shit like that. But if you look at the total strike numbers, absolutely insane. 116 to 33 in favor of Preston Parsons. That's over the course of 3 rounds. So on average, dude lands 10 strikes around, 11 strikes around. Do you know what I mean? Semelsberger, which that's very low output compared to what we're used to seeing from him, and he didn't knock him down a single time. He never really even looked like he had him in trouble or anything. So great performance by Preston Parsons. Yeah, just phenomenal, non-stop. Dude's got a fucking hell of a gas tank, I'll tell you what. Anyways, dude, moving up the card, 2, Andre Arlovsky versus Waldo Cortes-ACOSTA. I picked Waldo Cortes-ACOSTA, but I said that in my opinion Arlovsky is a live dog, and I wouldn't fucking bet this fight ever at minus 750 in favor of Waldo Cortes-ACOSTA. Okay? That being said, that was a fucking shit performance by Waldo Cortes-ACOSTA. I don't care if he got the win, and in my opinion, it was a very clear win, although that 3rd round was a little iffy. That was a shit performance, and I don't know why this dude is out there dancing and shit when he's doing fucking nothing. You know what, dude? Actually, Jesus Christ. Round 1 was even on strikes. Round 2, Andre Arlovsky landed more strikes. Now, to be fair, they were a little just like tapping leg kicks and things like that. Round 3, Arlovsky outstruck him also. And this dude was acting like it was a very clear victory for him. He was doing all this guy's a professional boxer. What the fuck is he throwing baseballs for? I know this guy's capable of landing cleaner shots than that. I know he's capable of it. We've seen him do it in the UFC. What the fuck was he doing? Was he trying to get his like highlight reel KO against the vet and Andre Arlovsky and not like... I didn't understand it. And when he started dancing in round 2 after a very shit boring round 1, it made me fucking angry, dude. And it made me angry in round 3 when he was doing it too, when he was talking shit to Arlovsky as if he's doing anything. Andre Arlovsky threw more strikes than he did. I don't know, like, that was fucking nuts to me, dude. I thought he won. I thought he landed the more damaging shots. But I thought that if he would have boxed the way that we know he can, because he used to be a professional boxer, he would have had a lot more success. I knew Andre Arlovsky was going to try and be extremely elusive, lateral movement along the outside of the octagon, stay at range, kind of get away, because at this stage in his career, he kind of has to, dude, right? His chin's not necessarily all there, and I'm not saying it's gone, but I mean, as old as he is at heavyweight, you can't risk it. But Jesus fucking Christ, dude. I was very disappointed with Waldo Cortes-ACOSTA's performance and the dancing that went along with it, considering how shit a performance that was. Anyways, dude, moving up the card. Phil Hawes versus Bruno Ferreira. Phil Hawes has no chin. He ate shots before the KO that looked as if they landed cleaner and harder than the one that finally put him out. But Jesus fucking Christ, dude. And then it takes one follow-up shot, and the dude's like actually out cold, eyes rolling back and all that shit. That was simply why I picked Bruno Ferreira. I thought Phil Hawes can't afford to get touched anymore, and I knew that Ferreira hits very hard, even though he got knocked out the fight right before this. And you could tell, actually, he did seem a little bit more hesitant than previous fights, but yeah, as soon as he touched Phil Hawes, that's a wrap. You know what I mean? Anyways, moving up the card. Ricky Simón versus Mario Bautista. Another underdog pick I hit. Okay, I picked Mario Bautista. This was a hell of a fight, dude. This was actually my favorite fight of the whole night, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't get fight of the night. I guess they gave out a whole lot of performance bonuses, but Mario Bautista is a fucking savage. And for me, wash that bad taste out of the Damone Blackshear split decision that he won, but I kind of thought he lost, out of everybody's mouth. I mean, this was a very impressive victory. Ricky Simón's no slouch. He hits hard as fuck. Mario Bautista was having success everywhere. I thought that Ricky Simón, even though, his main thing is like takedowns and controlling guys and arm triangles and beating dudes up from whatever, I didn't think Bautista would go out like that. I thought that his grappling was good enough that he would be able to get up if he wanted to. If he couldn't get up, he would be able to remain relatively safe. And that's kind of what happened. And then on the feet, the dude looked phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And that third round was insane. I didn't even think that he needed it, but the first round was very competitive, and he went out there and he fucking landed 4 times as many strikes as Ricky Simón. I mean, he just went absolutely crazy. Didn't stop at all, didn't try to coast. Phenomenal performance, and he's a contender in my opinion at bantamweight. I think that Damone Blackshear is very, very good, and I don't hold that against him getting a split decision over him like that. But this was a very good win in my opinion, especially considering like we just saw what Song Yadong was able to do against Ricky Simón. This was very impressive also. Do you know what I mean? So I think Bautista's right up there with some of these dudes at bantamweight. It's just that it's a little bit crowded, but either way, dude, absolute clinic on the feet, very good anti-grappling, very good grappling of his own, you know what I mean, reversals, getting back up to his feet and everything like that. Now, moving up the card too, Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. Holy shit, dude, Jim fucking Miller. I thought he would have some problems with the leg kicks and things like that. Benitez is known for having unbelievably hard leg kicks, but Jim Miller was returning with like 3 or 4 of his own shots for every shot that Gabriel Benitez threw, and it seemed as though Benitez didn't even want to keep going back to the leg kicks. I don't know if Miller was checking him real sneakily, or Jim Miller's leg kicks that he was returning with were more punishing than Gabriel Benitez or what, but what a fucking performance, dude. This guy, at the lighter weight classes, is what makes this so impressive to me. Do you know what I mean? It's impressive that Andrei Arlovsky is still going and as active as he is at heavyweight, though, right? Jim Miller's at fucking lightweight, dude, and he had a big chunk of his career taken from him due to Lyme disease or some shit, and then he goes out there and he fights like he's never been knocked out, and he's not afraid to get knocked out, and he's just gonna go fucking balls to the wall until he gets you out of there, which is amazing to see, dude. And I really hope that they get him a fight for UFC 300, because that would just be amazing. And that, what a way to go out too, if you get a win on 300 knowing that you competed 100, 200 and 300, and then to retire like that. I mean, holy shit, dude. I picked against Jim Miller because it's just, for me, the age thing is a big deal at the lower weight classes, and I thought that it would, have an effect here, but not the case at all, dude. Jim Miller's fighting like he's 28 years old. Fucking unbelievable, dude. Those leg kicks, he was turning his hip over like crazy and chopping at a downward angle. He was taking it to the thigh. You could see the damage it was doing to Gabriel Benitez, which is cool to see, because oftentimes nowadays we see mostly calf kicks, right? But to see a guy fucking chopping it down like that, whipping the hips full extension down on the thigh, was pretty cool also. And the bruising that shows from it, I feel as though it might even be better for the judges. If you've got a guy with a really good poker face, he can eat a lot of calf kicks. The bruising and swelling that comes on a calf oftentimes is not as noticeable unless it's on the front of the shin. Do you know what I mean? You'll have redness on the meat and all that jazz, but the bruise that he put on Gabriel Benitez's thigh was fucking gnarly, dude. Anyways, great performance by Jim Miller. Moving up the card, Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. I picked Johnny Walker. I thought, I didn't understand why Magomed Ankalaev would be a -5 20, I thought that Johnny Walker had some success in the first round before the illegal knee, and I thought that I don't know, man. The odds I didn't like, that was 1. And 2, I thought Johnny Walker, very close with that flying knee, was landing some shit on the feet against Magomed in the first meeting. I thought he might be able to have some success again tonight. He was having success with the leg kicks also. The first round, it looked as though it might be going that way. Johnny Walker near miss with hook kicks, wheel kicks, all sorts of shit. Very near misses, question mark kicks. Like, he was throwing everything in the kitchen sink. He was having success with the leg kicks. Now, to be fair, Ankalaev was checking a little bit more than he usually would, but still, he was getting tagged there. But Ankalaev stayed calm, stayed chill, do you know what I mean? Didn't overextend himself or expose himself on anything. Didn't even shoot a takedown at all. And in that fucking second round, dude, landed a huge shot, not even that huge if I'm being honest, to the side of the jaw. Johnny Walker flew back the way he did against Jamal Hill. The guy gets fucking cartoon KO'd more than anybody in UFC history. That follow-up shot from Magomed Ankalaev was absolutely fucking nasty. Unbelievably nasty. So accurate, right on the nose. You could tell it fucking broke his nose badly immediately. It reminded me of Rory McDonald grabbing his nose against Robbie Lawler. Like, you just know immediately something's wrong. Do you know what I mean? And then the call out Magomed after the fact, respectfully enough, right? And then saying he would stand with Alex Pereira. He doesn't even need takedown defense, which is fucking okay, dude. I would imagine a few calf kicks, even though it would be to the inside leg regardless. A few leg kicks in, few left hooks, which he would get touched with. Jan Blachowicz was able to hit him with a couple of left hooks pretty consistently. I would imagine he'd be shooting on Pereira's legs relatively quickly. I think that he should probably get a title shot next. Now, I don't know that he'll be next for Pereira, but I don't think that he should have to fight again before getting a title shot. Maybe we could find somebody else at the top there. You know, if Yuri gets a win over Rakic, maybe you do Rakic Magomed or Rakic Magomed, do you know what I mean? But great performance by Magomed Ankalaev. Stayed calm, stayed cool, allowed Johnny Walker to get all his fucking crazy shit out. And in the second round, he touched Johnny Walker at the beginning, and it seemed as though Walker never really was able to recover from that and was kind of hesitant for the rest of the match, skirting along the outside of the octagon, lateral movement, didn't really want to engage. All the fancy shit stopped immediately after that, and then Magomed eventually finds the what was it, a right hook, check right hook or something like that, and then the follow-up shot, as I said, absolutely nasty, unbelievably accurate, and just fucking shattered Walker's nose. It looked like Jesus Christ, dude. But yeah, man, great performance by Magomed Ankalaev. Fun fight. He does something I want to say, and I'm not trying to shit on the dude because I didn't want to come in here and shit on the dude. I thought it was a very impressive performance. It was exciting. He didn't want to grapple. Whatever. The dude needs to fucking start taking accountability when he fouls somebody. Every time he fouls somebody, he acts as though they're bullshitting. It was very clear. And then once he saw the replay, he went, oh, okay, fine, I guess. Do you know what I mean? But with the illegal knee, he had a fucking problem. The eye poke, he had a problem. I mean, I don't know what it is. The dude complaining about the draw after the Jan Blachowicz fight, even though that was the best scored draw I've ever seen in my life. It's weird. But either way, dude, great performance, exciting fight. And yeah, dude, excited to see. I would love to see him versus Alex Pereira. At this point, honestly, I think that Pereira could do enough damage on the feet that Ankalaev's shots will become desperation shots, and I think that at that point they become a little bit more telegraphed, and I could see Pereira setting him up with something. And if he is dumb enough to stay on the feet with Pereira, I don't think he's KOing him, dude. He said, you know, I hit harder than Adesanya. Adesanya left you out cold. Minus 20-pound weight cut. Do you know what I mean? Pereira's chin is just fine. 8 shots from Yuri, 8 shots from Jan Blachowicz. I mean, but yeah, I'd love to see that fight or whatever they want to do. Either way, dude, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.